That did give me an advantage.
Speaking of advantages, do you believe in pretty privilege?
Yes and no.
Follow up question: do you believe that you have it? First of all, before you answer that, define pretty privilege in your headspace.
So to my understanding, isn't like pretty privilege the idea that if you're pretty, that you get afforded more opportunities, or,
Mm-hmm.
or like things like that? I think
Right.
to a
You ever heard
degree,
of the
I would.
halo effect?
No, I haven't heard about that.
It's basically the same along those same lines, where because of your objective standard of beauty that some might perceive, and most people perceive, which I guess will fall into the definition. Most people will look at you. If you had like 10 people, 8 out of 10 people will say yes, she's on 10. And then of course the benefits that come along with that, mainly because, especially in men, like, and I'll give this
Mm-hmm.
quick example and then I'll give you the floor. Men understand exactly where we are on the spectrum because we get feedback very quickly. Because
Right.
obviously the person we're chasing probably doesn't want us, and so we get feedback whether or not the term creepy and the term charming tell you how you appear on the spectrum. Because if you say something that's off the wall, but you look like Brad Pitt or somebody or Thor, women just, oh my god, stop it, leave, stop it. If you look like a Dusty, like Danny DeVito or somebody, all of a sudden you're creepy. But it could be the same exact words, same exact
Uh,
actions.
I've seen good-looking guys be creepy. I think it's dependent on behavior.
I agree. I agree. And of course, exceptions to every rule.
Yeah.
But again, from a man's point of view, we tend to get like real time feedback. Like I have no doubt in my mind that if Michael B. Jordan was standing next to me, what the results would be. It's not a mystery. And of course, you see it. You look at the average poll and like every woman might think she's a 10. I'm like, no, you're all beautiful in your own way. You're all precious. You're all doing your thing. But all y'all can't be 10s because then the value of a 10 is now nothing. So
Right.
yeah, but yeah, in regards to like just pretty privilege, do you think that exists, and do you think that anyone or yourself would benefit from it and not know it in a
So
sense?
to an extent. So I do agree that if you're pretty, you get noticed a lot more, you get more attention,
Mm-hmm.
but that doesn't necessarily, you might be afforded potentially more opportunities, but that doesn't mean, I wouldn't say that gives you an advantage because, so for example, because I think it can actually work against you. So I actually think it has worked against me based on my personal experience. So because if you're, think about it, if you're good looking, that is the only thing most people will tend to look at. They won't look at your personality, they won't look at other things about you. That's the
Mm-hmm.
only, you know that. And I know for me personally, like, again, I'm not trying to sound conceited. In tech school, I got a lot of attention from guys,
Mm-hmm.
more so than other women. And I don't know if it was because of my age, or I don't know what it was, but I got a lot of attention in tech school. And you would think that's flattering. A lot of people would think like that's a good thing or that's flattering, but it really wasn't, because okay, I might be getting a lot of attention, but am I getting attention from good quality men?
Mm-hmm.
9 times out of 10, I wasn't. It was always someone who was already married or in a relationship or way
Mm-hmm.
too young
Right.
or clearly just needed to do just so much more work on themselves before they could even think about being in a relationship. Like the quality of men that I attracted was awful. And I don't attribute that to myself. I attribute it to the fact that because I am beautiful, it attracts a lot of attention. And
Mm-hmm.
it's really just a game at that point. Who do I accept into my circle, or who do I actually reciprocate that attention to? So
Mm-hmm.
and the thing is I wasn't flattered every time someone talked to me because I got so much attention. All I could think of is, because every time a guy approached me, compliments are great, right? But if every time a guy approaches me, the first thing they compliment me on is how beautiful I am, that gets old. It
Mm-hmm.
gets old so quickly. But you know what catches my attention? And I used to make a joke about this with my friend. I'm like, it'll be the day if someone just says something as simple as asking my name, because
Wow.
I like it. just sit down and say like, hey, I saw like ask me a question that inquires something about my interest or what I like to do or where do I work or just anything about
Mm-hmm.
me that has nothing to do with my physical appearance. Because here's the here's the thing, I don't know if most guys know this, but if a woman is beautiful, 100% of the times that woman knows she's pretty. We
Right.
don't put on makeup and wear good clothes and think we look ugly. Like it just doesn't make sense. We know we're beautiful. We know we look pretty because we like to look. I know for me, I love to dress up. Like
Mm-hmm.
I like to wear nice clothes. And because it makes me feel good. I like it. So I know I look good. Okay, I'm beautiful. Tell me something else. That's not intriguing to me. That's
Mm-hmm.
great in the long run. Like if you get to know someone and they compliment you, that's great, but you're not really making yourself stand out from other men. I'm going to pay more attention not to the most good-looking guy in the bunch. I'm going to pay attention to the guy that ignores the fact that I'm beautiful but instead asks me a question. Like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, my name is so and so. What's your name? Do you hang around here often? I know it sounds cheesy, but like just
Yeah.
something that
Yeah.
asks me that shows me that you're more interested in me than my appearance, because then that means that, and that's why I think pretty privilege, it's it's more bad thing than a good thing, because you might get a lot of attention, but it's bad attention because people are only drawn to you for fake reasons, for very shallow reasons. And that's honestly really damaging. That's actually like damaging to one's self-esteem despite being pretty, because
Mm-hmm.
you begin to think like, wow, why do people care more about my looks than my personality? Is like, it's just my is do men only want me for my body and not who I am? It makes you feel hollow.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually, so that's why I truly don't believe in pretty privilege. And I'll be honest, and I've noticed this as a woman, I feel like there are more women who are considered average and not overly attractive that are coupled up, who have boyfriends or are married, than
Mm-hmm.
there are prettier women who are above average, like, 8, 9, 10 on the scale, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
They're more single because people are so intimidated, one, either by their parents, they won't even approach them, or two, that's all they see and they don't want to get to know them and they get tired of that.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually envy women that aren't that attractive. I envy women that, I'm not trying to say I'm like this super gorgeous woman. No, 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 no. I'm attractive, but I wish I was a little bit less attractive, because I feel like I would attract more people that would approach me because they want to get to know me and not because I look beautiful, if that makes
That's
sense.
that's highly interesting. So something I learned a while back. Um, I'm not sure if I tweeted it or not, but it basically to the effect of you don't want to compliment someone for something they didn't earn, and not that you didn't earn your beauty, but bone structure, symmetry, the objective standards that we kind of recognize in it's kind of like nature. You see nature, and people call nature beautiful for a reason. It's
Hmm.
like it didn't earn it. You just look at it and you're like, there's something beautiful about that. And the word beautiful applies to cars, it applies to nature, it applies to people. It's not something that you can work towards. It just is. And like even makeup can be diminishing. Whereas like somebody can wake up. My standard of beauty is like when I wake up next to you, I don't want to be alarmed.
Yeah.
I want to see something nice.
That's another reason why I don't want someone to just approach me based on beauty, because the reality is I might dress good. Like I don't wear a ton of makeup, but I do wear makeup, right? Like if I take it off, you're not going to be like, "Oh my god, I didn't think that's what you looked like," right?
Mm-hmm.
But I do wear makeup and I do dress really well. And if someone is only interested in me because of what I look like, the reality is like I'm going to be home. My hair is going to look like this. I'm going to be in my like sleeping clothes and I'm going to have messy hair and wear baggy pants. I'm not going to look like that all the
Mm-hmm.
time. So if someone's only approaching me on the merit that that's what I look like all the time, then I know they're not going to accept me just being normal everyday me, if that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense. So,
What would you say is the one thing, or maybe you might have a top three list, but what is one thing that you like to be recognized for? Obviously, beauty aside, what's one thing that you want people to see about you that may not be obvious?
that may not be obvious. Um, that I try, like that no matter what I do, I never give up. That even when things are really hard, that I always that I'm resilient. That I
Mm.
think that's what resiliency. The fact that no matter what I go through, I still find some reason to keep going and I go on regardless, no matter how unhappy I am or no matter how stressed I am, that I still keep going.
Mm.
Um, because that's the one thing I pride myself on the most.